guys, welcome back. Andrew here with Ambient Endeavors, and today we're taking a look at a new electric guitar from Enya Music, another one of their smart guitars with some fun technology embedded into it. It's called the INSPIRE, and we're going to dig into the specs of this guitar, talk about some of the unique technology that it features, and then hear some of the sounds from it. I want to mention that this is a sponsored video by Enya. They sent over this guitar and are paying me to make this video, but I'm going to share my opinions and thoughts about it freely. If you are interested in this guitar, if you're shopping for one yourself, please hit the affiliate link below. It's a huge help to support the channel here through your purchase, and I really appreciate it. I've gotten to review a few of these guitars from Enya, and it's been interesting to just kind of see the evolution of their product offerings over the last couple years. INSPIRE to me is one of the most appealing and kind of most accessible electric guitars. And I think they did a really nice job with the design and sort of the options of this guitar. At its core, it really kind of feels and sounds like a Super Strat with some modernized and kind of refined design decisions. There's some nice contouring throughout the guitar to make it a really comfortably playing guitar. It's a set neck design here and that carbon fiber construction for the body and the neck. You have a pretty familiar set of specs that we'll go over here in terms of measurements and parts choices. You have a 25.5-inch scale length, a roughly 12-inch fretboard radius, and then you have what I think is a kind of a cool decision and a really pretty comfortable designed neck that tapers from a C shape down here in the lower frets up into more of a V shape as you go up. So it really kind of matches the way that your hand kind of wants to grab onto the neck for first position chords and things like that down here, and then to be able to maneuver quickly up in the higher frets for more lead type parts. Unlike a couple of the other guitars I've demoed from Enya, this one really does kind of feel like a proper electric guitar. It's comfortable to play sitting or standing. It comes in at about 7.25 pounds, so it feels substantial in the way that a Stratocaster would feel, and it just kind of preserves that playing experience. Sometimes some of these brands that come out with these new and novel designs, it feels like they're so far out in left field that to kind of sit down and play the instrument feels uncomfortable or just out of the norm. But this guitar really does have a familiarity and a feel and a comfort level that's pretty inviting to play. You have a 2-point tremolo system down here with individual saddles and spot for a whammy bar. And then you have a single humbucker pickup combination here with ceramic pickups. You've got a 5-way toggle to select your pickup selection there. And then in the volume control, you have a pull pot to switch this humbucker to a parallel wiring scheme, which gives it a more single coily, kind of thinner, clearer sounding texture in that mode. If you know anything about Enya guitars, you probably would expect this one to have those onboard features and app integration that the previous guitars have featured. It does, including a built-in amplifier with speaker and the ability to cycle through some presets of sounds on the guitar here with this big button. You can go into the app and create different sounds and presets yourself and save them. You can use different effects such as reverb or chorus or delay. You can choose from a couple different amps, whether you're wanting a cleaner sound or a dirtier sound, and all that can be done via the smartphone app. In addition, these guitars ship with a 4-button foot switch that allows you to cycle through those presets on the fly via the foot switch. I wanted to kind of use the intro sketch as a case study for just using this guitar as a normal electric guitar with none of the built-in effects and features, but just as the guitar at its core, at itself. And I think it sounds really great. From clean sounds to those thicker overdriven sounds when paired with effects and outboard amplifiers, it can show up and hang with a traditional electric guitar, especially in its category and its price point. And so I want to highlight that first and foremost, because along with those extra bells and whistles, you are at the core buying this electric guitar. And you might want to use it in those contexts where you're relying still on outboard effects and amplifiers and things like that. I think there's a lot to like about these guitars, and I also have a couple points of critique that we'll share in a second. But one of my first takeaways from this guitar is how comfortable it is to play. Like I mentioned, the neck is really well contoured and smoothed around the edges to make that experience up and down the fretboard feel really comfortable. There's no overhang on any of the fretwork, which adds to that level of comfort. And just the way that they've kind of designed and contoured the body and the neck of this guitar makes it a really easy and comfortable player. On the whole, the guitar and the fit and finish of it are really quite attractive and pleasing. The bridge is really sleek, and the hardware is high quality. You can adjust each of the saddles here too, like you'd expect from an electric guitar, and you can again use that tremolo system for some whammies and things. As I've used it, I've noticed that the tuning machines are pretty stiff across the board here, so that's sort of a weakness of this specific guitar. They just don't turn and kind of respond in a smooth, fluid way like I'd hope or expect. But they do look to be standardized in a way that if you really want, you could swap those out for some upgraded tuning machines. And then before I share my thoughts about the built-in amplifier and the effects and the preset sounds like that, I'm just going to share some of those sounds mic'd up with this mic to kind of capture some of the ambient sounds of this guitar in the room here and get a sense of what you can expect from the built-in speaker from this guitar. So there's some nice range of sounds and textures that you can get across the different pickup selections, and with that catalog of effects and amplifier tones through the built-in speaker here. So this could be useful for more casual type settings. Perhaps you're just at home in the evening and want to play electric guitar on the couch without setting up a whole rig of pedals and an amp. You can dial up some sounds on your app and just kind of get rolling with some of your favorite effects and sounds that way. It also could be useful if you're preparing for or learning new songs and again want to dial up a specific sound with those effects to kind of match the part you're learning. You can do that on the fly pretty quick and just have it coming out of the speaker in the room as you're preparing or practicing or learning those parts. I wouldn't pretend to claim that these effects sound close to some of my favorite outboard pedals or things that I've used in the box before, but it gets you close. It gets you in the ballpark of a modulation sound or a delay or a reverb sound, and just kind of gives you an idea and sort of a ballpark for that sound or that effect that you're going for. So I think it's helpful to have an appropriate level of expectation for the quality of those built-in effects and those built-in sounds. You also kind of get some of the challenges of having a speaker system right next to the pickups of a guitar. You get some feedback as you turn the volume up or have a higher gain setting going. So that can start to get a little bit annoying, especially at louder or higher gain settings. But I think one of the real values of this Inspire guitar from Enya, and kind of the value of that concept of building some of these sounds and features into the guitar, is just that you have this ability to pick it up and get running with some kind of fully baked electric guitar sounds right in one unit. And that's cool. That's fun. It does help when you've got some creative juices flowing and you just want to quickly get to that sound in your head. You can do that with these guitars in the app pretty quickly. It's also, again, a fun way to just experiment with and learn how different effects pair and how you can kind of create different sounds with those effects and those textures without having to amass a whole pedal board of pedals or spend a bunch of money on some of that outboard gear. So for the right type of player, for someone who's wanting convenience and the ability to dial up those sounds right away, all in one package, I think the Inspire is a cool option. It's definitely not for everyone. It might not be for you, but if you're wanting to learn more, check it out at the link below at Enya Music. They do offer a 30-day return policy if it's something you just want to try and check out, but aren't totally sure how it's going to jive with you. And then they also have a 1-year warranty on these guitars as well. So thanks for watching the video. Thanks again to Enya for sending this over, and drop any questions or comments you've got below in the comments and we'll chat there. Take care.